right, here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. Okay, all right. No, I got it. No,
You hit us with it. All right.
What's going on? Welcome to today's Passion, Tomorrow's Purpose podcast. I'm JP. I'm an investor. What are you, man?
I'm an entrepreneur.
Ooh, I'm gonna teach you some things today about what we're reading. And what we're reading is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And I'm gonna try to talk about the chapter that we're reading today's chapter 4. I'm gonna talk about how we
Technically, it's like part 2 chapter. It's part 1, part 2 chapter. This guy's not paying attention.
I've been going off my notes, like, because I had like chapter 1, chapter 2,
No,
chapter 3.
I understand
I was
why
like,
you're
all
doing it like that.
This has to be chapter 4.
But then when you're at a real chapter 4 and part 2, you'll be confused. You'll be like, there's 2 chapter 4s.
Okay, but what's the title of the chapter? It was
So this one's about, well, it's called Do This and You'll Be Welcome Anywhere.
Ooh. Welcome anywhere. I like being welcomed into like a strip club. That's like
Never been.
I feel so welcome. Like when you
especially when
you
there's
never
cash
felt
in your
that,
pocket. Especially when there's cash in your pocket. When there's no money, there's
pocket check. They're like, let me see
Yeah.
what you got in that pocket. But I'm gonna do like an alternative name for like the chapter, and so I'm gonna say like it's about hearing your name or paying attention to detail, and these are the notes that we got from it.
Can I just hit this one random quote that I read in the book that doesn't make so much sense at all, but like I thought it was just fucking hilarious to read.
It doesn't make sense to the chapter?
I mean it does, but it doesn't really have like a full description. I'll just read it.
Okay.
I just thought, wow, that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, it says, did you ever stop to think that a dog is the only animal that doesn't have to work for a living? A hen has to lay eggs, a cow has to give milk, and a canary has to sing. But a dog makes his living by giving you nothing but love.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's crazy. It's like laziest fucking animal on this earth.
It's dope. Yeah, it pretty much starts the chapter with like the easiest person to ever get along with is the person that is more interested in you, essentially. So that's when they brought the whole dog in.
Yeah, no,
like,
so it doesn't make sense.
Like, no, who doesn't give a fudge about nothing?
And then,
your dog.
Oh yeah, and then that's actually where I had to play off of one of my other notes that I had made, which was, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming genuinely interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you.
Exactly.
Which makes sense. Like, you think about the dog walking by 100 people and like 87 people are just freaking, oh, let me pet your dog.
Right.
They just wag their tail and go crazy.
Right.
So I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I took that second quote kind of heart. That was just kind of like when I moved to this area, I was like, I had no friends for like a while. I felt like it was just kind of me living with Olivia, being with her family and stuff like that. It took a while for me to like find friends, and I always tried to make friends. And I kind of look back at it now, and I feel like I was trying to sell myself to people instead of trying to I was trying to pretty much show that like, hey, like if we hang out, like I'm a cool guy.
This
like,
is what I can provide for you.
Like, I'm a
this is
fun
what I got
guy,
to the table.
Yeah, like we can have a good time, like go out, grab drinks, go play golf, things like that.
Yep.
And I think I was trying too hard to like focus on that, whether instead of just being like, oh, like what do you do and like what's your thing and like shit like that. So and then once I started to kind of like listen to people a little bit more, been able to build a few more friendships.
Gotcha. So you pretty much piqued their interest in order to gain a friend.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I mean, like the way we became friends is all of a sudden you were reading a book in the back of the freaking truck, and I was just like, "What are you reading?" And then all of a sudden it was like, boom! Right from there, I was interested in what you were reading. And
I was so interested that you asked me, and I was like, "Yo, I got this is what I'm doing."
Yeah, and then we just started talking books, and I didn't mention hanging out or like let's do this or let's do that. It was just I was listening to. Someone's ripping ass upstairs.
Oh my god!
I was just genuinely interested in what you were doing, and
yeah.
I mean, look at us now. Now we're doing a podcast about books.
About facts.
That's where it all started. Was the fucking truck and asking you what you were doing.
Full full circle.
Damn, look at that.
Oh, damn, this is a juicy
hilarious.
one.
That's so funny.
I love how
out.
facts. I love how it works. I love how it works. Okay, so one of the first notes, and spoiler. So
Spoiler.
my first note, yes, it was from chapter 2.
Okay.
And I told you there's gonna be a spoiler in there.
Yeah.
We're on chapter 4, but part
2, chapter 1.
Part 2, chapter 1. So almost like the 4th chapter,
but
right?
His notes was spoiler alert. And
This was
he was gonna bring up the spoiler.
right.
I
So awesome. You want to know it? But so this is what it is. So, direct thing from the chapter. It was Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt. He greeted like everyone in his when he was the president. He greeted everybody, the servants, everybody by name. He associated everyone like with their actual name, and that made them feel like so much more important to everybody.
Yep.
There's another thing in the chapter 2 that it talks about the whole greeting people as well, but I wanted to focus on that point because what I learned in high school was the greatest. This is the spoiler. Like the greatest thing you're ever gonna hear is your own name.
Yep.
That's the most like influential or like important feeling you're gonna feel. Is like when someone's like, "Yo, hey John, how you doing today?" And then you're like, "Yo, how do you remember my name?
Yeah.
Like, how do you remember that?" Like, and that's what Theodore Roosevelt was doing with all the people that was around him and his sir, they call it servants. I don't like that name. Like that sounds crazy, but but you know, like the all the staff,
gardeners, laborers,
right,
the kitchen staff, and all that.
Right,
shit.
so all that, and they like, yo, he was one of the best guys I've ever met. It was specifically because he was naming everyone by their name, and that's the most important thing that anybody ever hears in their life is their own name.
I actually worked for a company. I actually 100% agree with that whole thing of like learning people's names and talking by like coming up to them and saying their name and stuff like that. I worked for this one company, big company. There was like, I want to say between 500 and 1,000. I don't know the exact number, but it was a bigger side. Yeah, it was a bigger side company. And the dude would walk around. The CEO at the time would walk around and say talk to everybody by name. You'd literally say like, "Hey John, how you doing?"
Dope.
And like, as soon as the CEO comes up to you and goes, "Hey John, how you doing?" You'd be like, "Oh,
damn!
Hello, sir. How are you doing today?" Instead of just being like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, right. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that. Like he came up to everybody by name. Like even like I worked for my uncle at the time. Like he was my manager, and I said, "I'd really like to go talk to like the CEO because like that's when I was like so interested in like business and stuff like that." So and I heard he was like, guy was hired because he's really good at building businesses to get them to a point to sell. Yep. And stuff like that. So he'd build up businesses like crazy. I was like, I'd really love to go talk to the student just to kind of pick his brain a little bit. I never did, but my uncle goes, I bet if you went up to him, he'd probably say, "What's up?" He'd probably know your name. I'm like, how the hell would you know my name? Like, I never went up to find out, but him, my uncle, and a couple other guys was like, he would definitely know your name. I'm like, I've never even seen the guy. Like, he would know your name.
That is super crazy.
I was like, that's wild.
That's a different level than like meeting someone and then like
they were just like, he would know your name for sure. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, he just knows people's names. I mean, obviously CEO, so I'm sure he sees who's coming in the buildings and stuff like that. But he was like, he would definitely know your name.
Still, that's crazy.
I'm like, that's nutty.
I'm actually getting pretty good with names because when I read Limitless by Simon Sinek, like it teaches about memorization in general. Yeah, and teaches about how to memorize people's names.
That's a huge thing.
It's dope. So basically, like, when you meet somebody, you just say their name, you repeat it back to them. So they're like, "Oh, hi, I'm John." Then I'm like, "Yo, hi, I'm JP." And then if you're trying to memorize my name, like, "Oh, nice to meet you, JP." Like you just repeat it back, and then you try to associate like what I'm so like orange, like something like clever that you dictate yourself. Like, oh, JP was wearing orange. So every time you see me, or like say we're like at a bar or like an event or something, seminar, like and you see me again and like orange, like JP Orange, like, and that's how you do it.
The gugue with the orange shirt.
You're right. Exactly. That's how you memorize it. Like that's the easy way to associate memorization with like something. Yeah. You tie it into like an entity of something. Yep. And that's
I've been really bad with names, and I like that's
Try
my
it out.
goal is to be like really good with names. And after reading this chapter and stuff like that, and you giving that tip, it's like I always now want to like when I see customers be like, hey, what's up?
It's amazing. They like legit. Everyone feels like fulfilled
Yeah.
once you hear your name. I'm telling you, that's the biggest thing. Everyone loves to hear their
Mm-hmm.
own name.
Yep.
Like what was that movie? It's like Matt Damon or something like that when he was deaf.
Oh, I'm terrible.
Oh, but you don't know what I'm talking about. Like I'm pretty sure it was Matt Damon when he was deaf. Like,
Is it
and
a
he got like
classic?
his he got like a operation or whatever, so he was able to hear. He was like a deaf kid, like he was like in a deaf like group or a school or something like that, and he got an operation done. And then his mother came up to him and said his name, and he was like, he's like, yo, like he recognized like
The voice?
no like the name because like obviously they do like they do sign language.
Sign language? Oh,
Yeah,
sign
yeah, they do
language.
sign language, and then like he started to actually hear things because he had the
Yeah.
operation. And
Yep.
he's like, "Is that my name?" And he went crazy. He was like, "Is that?" He's I don't know how to do it in sign language,
But he
but
was
like
like,
he's
"Is
like,
that my
"Is that?"
name?"
He's like, "Is that my name?" And
Yep.
the mother was like, "Yeah, that's your name." And he was like, "Oh," like he was like,
Oh,
"Gas!"
that's
Like,
pretty cool.
"Oh,
To hear it for the first time, too,
right, your
yeah.
own fucking name, right?"
That's
So
cool.
that's man, that was good.
I've never seen that movie, to be honest. I'm not a movie guy. I'm terrible with it.
I'll find that out. But, all right, so that was a spoiler.
I like that. That was good though.
But one more thing about the whole where I learned the everyone loves their own name, like hearing it didn't directly say it in the book,
Yeah.
but I learned that from my DECA teacher.
Oh, from the
Yeah, like the business program
thing?
kind of thing in
Yeah.
high school, like
Yeah.
the DECA, DECA, like I learned that from my teacher that was teaching the DECA class, and she was like, "Oh yeah, the most important thing that everyone loves to hear is their own name." I was like, "Oh," so that legit stuck with me from high school,
Yeah.
legit. So I've been trying to associate that with like a lot of things I'm doing in life in general. So like, I'm definitely trying to know everyone's name
Yeah.
because like I feel like this is how to win a friend.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like, and maybe this is just because I kind of had maybe a little bit of this experience the other day,
Mhm.
like, do you feel like to a certain degree when you're dealing with like big enough people, like saying like CEOs of companies and stuff like that shit just kind of goes through them?
I guess for the most part, well,
Because I did a cleanup for the guy the other day, owns multiple businesses, and he's like, a very well known person.
yep,
And I kind of, and like, he opened up the door. I was like, hey, what's up? Like, my name and everything.
yeah,
And like,
yeah.
just kept talking to him by repeating his name.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
you don't,
Oh,
like,
so
you
that's
don't,
what you're saying.
yeah, like, you don't, I feel like you don't get the same reaction out as if you were to talk to, like, just, someone who's like, I don't want to say a regular person, but like someone who's just like, works the regular 9 to 5 job, isn't like high level manager, just like mid level employee, and just kind of does their day to day and goes home.
Well, I feel like he might not reciprocate the energy right back to you. He might not know your name right now, but I guarantee, like, out of all the people that been speaking to him, like by calling him by name, he's gonna remember you. Like, all right, now I need to figure out your name.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be on the reverse role now. Like,
Yeah.
originally you got his name, now he's gonna be like, yo, what was that dude's name?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's gonna probably look up the company. Like, all right, let me see who was this that like
Yeah.
he made an impression on me.
Honestly, one time I seen him in the summertime. I went over to go cut his grass. He was just chilling by his pool and stuff like that. He's like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And I was like,
Hey,
I was like, I'm not just the lawn guy anymore. I was like, "Hey, how are you doing?"
The pool's open. Like,
I'm hopping in. You said I could take a dip after I'm done. Yeah, sure.
Right.
So I was just like, he didn't even know my name. He just said, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I was just like, but he like threw his arms up, like made it seem like a big thing. I was just like, "Oh shit, I feel so great."
I feel you. I used to be like terrible with names. I used to be so bad that I used to be like, I could introduce like say like somebody I'm dating or something like that. How I'm gonna introduce them to my family, not even like to who I'm dating, whoever like, like makes me sound shady as fuck. Makes me sound
You
shady.
forget the girl's name, or are you
Yeah,
saying
like if I get some, even in general, if I'm a segue the hell out of here. This makes me sound crazy.
I'll give you a funny example.
This makes me sound crazy.
My uncle was a manager at his job, and he had this lady that worked for him for like 5, 7 years, something like that.
Mm.
And he had called her this one name the entire time.
Oh no.
And then when he went to go leave, like the company because he went to go get another job, he was saying his goodbyes to everybody, and like she liked him like a lot. Like she thought he was great, but then she goes, "I just want to let you know, you've been calling me this all these years. This is my real name." And he was off just by like a little bit, but it was just like, oh, it was just hilarious. I forget, it was like some J name, and he was like, he either called her Jessica or that was her. It was either Jessica. It was vice versa. Her name was Jessica, and he was calling her Jennifer. Or vice versa, something like that. And she was just like, "Yeah, I've just been responding to it, but that's not my real name." But I didn't want to correct you because I thought you were a cool person and like we worked together well. So I was just like, I just let it slide.
Back to.
I don't know the song. Sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm either. I just made it up.
All right. Well, that's a good one.
And Alfred Adler. He's a famous Vietnamese psychologist. It is the individual who is not interested in his fellow men, who has the greatest difficulties in life, and provides the greatest injury to others. It is from among such individual that all human failures, they spring from. So it's pretty much like it's like the hurt person hurts. What's that quote? Like a hurt person hurts other people.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That's exactly what that is.
Oh, okay.
Somebody who's going through something, who doesn't have interest in others. Like if you're like by yourself, you don't really care about others. So it's like the Scrooge.
Yeah.
And so you get influence from like that other person where it's like almost like Christmas is a fun time. Like it's a fun time. He had to learn from somebody else because he was in his own little thing. Even his dog was happy. But he himself wasn't happy. As a Scrooge, and he
was just kind of miserable in his own shit.
Or he's miserable in his own shit, and then he tried to hurt others. Then he became something else.
Yeah.
But I was like, yo, ask your why. Like you need to make sure you need to figure out his why. Like I've been reading some books, like it's almost like the self-help or like psychology style things. Like you need to figure out his why. That's the only way you're gonna get it, like to negotiate with him. Figure out his why. And then he came back and he's like, Taylor was like, all right, I'm glad that everyone's coming back this year, and everyone was looking at you like, oh shit, like the crew's back.
Super hype, yeah. Because you never know. Like if it was a bigger company, it'd be like, who's going, who's not. Because she could walk over and be like, all right, so guys, like Julian's not coming back next year. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Right.
So say your goodbyes and your heartfelt.
Yeah, man, but it was cool, man. It was a great conversation, a good vibe, and stuff like that. Something I was gonna implement too, like this goes for like entrepreneurs, like business owners, or things like that. Like if she were to even like look at the numbers, the original ask price that he was asking for, like, oh, I want this next season. She could have looked at the numbers before he came and after he came. Like before he was hired, what was our numbers with like say like somebody else that was like someone that was less money? Was it the same efficiency? And how much did we get extra in profit with like I was gonna say that to her, but I didn't end up saying that. But like that's something she could have did as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure they look at that stuff.
I would hope so. I mean, yeah, I hope so. I really do hope so. Yeah. I mean, maybe we just we're so meticulous and we think about numbers more than
I can be honest right now, since like the season's coming to an end, I've been a little lazy and a little not so looking at the numbers. Like, of course, I'm checking like my profit and like my top line numbers and stuff like that.
Yep.
So like the job stuff. I mean, like, I'm still keeping track of how long a cleanup takes me. I'm gonna put it all in my notes for next year and stuff like that, so that way I can get better at my pricing.
Yep.
And so maybe I have been still doing it, but like I think I've just been a little on it and stuff like that. Where like when I'm in the season, I'm like, the weed trimmer cost me $1 something an hour, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's crazy. I'm like, just to replace like string trimmer line cost me this much a day, like dude, I had all those numbers like a couple months ago and stuff like that, and like I was just like, oh, I'm like, I'm really gonna start figuring this shit out, like how much I need to charge per hour and all this stuff, and like now I've just been kind of like, okay, I'm just trying to finish up the season. I'm over it for this year.
Yep.
And come next year, I'll be hyped again. Like, cause as soon as winter hits, I'll be fucking hyped and reading all these books, and I'll be right back to it. And like, I'll be like, oh, for next year. I think one of the biggest problems for me is like, now that I'm at this point of the season, it's like I'll just wait till next year to figure this out instead of like doing like I need to figure this out like now and do this
The
now.
winter is a great time for it.
Yeah,
Great time to crunch the end of the year numbers, and then obviously you keep all the logs through was it
quick.
QuickBook? No. I'm talking like the your
Oh, I use Yard Book,
yard book. Right,
but
right.
I keep track of like numbers, like money numbers is all through QuickBooks.
Okay, so you use a bookie for like the actual like cost of like what you're using, like materials and things like that, or do
Oh
you put
yeah,
it through
like all
Yardbook
that.
and then send it to her?
No. So Yard Book, I do like my invoicing through.
Right.
So like I'll be able to see like I'll be able to everything that goes into Yard Book transfers over to Cook.
Okay.
So regardless,
Automatically?
yeah.
Oh, that's kind of
So like whenever I do like income and stuff like that, like get money in,
Yep.
it all goes to there. So then I can go see like my month to months in QuickBooks.
Ah, okay.
But the only thing is my expenses aren't synced to Yard Book completely because something with the bank keeps fucking up or whatever.
Mhm.
But in QuickBooks, all that's connected. So anytime I spend $1, it's all there, so I can see exactly where I'm spending my money.
That's pretty smooth.
And it's all by like category and stuff like that. So like I can see how
Ah.
much I spent on gas, what months and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I like that. I'm annoyed that I didn't hit my goal this year, my top line number that I wanted to hit this
Mhm.
year. But I'm still happy with the growth.
So it was growth.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My
You want to double up every year, essentially, no?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
my profit this year was my top line last year.
Ooh,
Actually,
that the profit?
My profit.
Your
this
net
year,
was your gross. I mean, your gross last year was your net this year.
Yeah.
Oh,
and more. That's
saucy. That's saucy.
Like I'm almost like
that's saucy.
Yeah, it's freaking a lot.
That's what's up.
So I'm already over double what my gross was last year for this year's gross.
Congrats, bro. Congrats,
but I just
bro.
wanted a little bit more. I just wanted to hit that. Third. It's so bad. But I did. But I will next year. I'm gonna do what I can.
Yep.
I guess now for next year, like just trying to figure out what I need to do to really hit that number. I guess this is probably what I'll do over the winter is like see how I can hit that number, like put in the fine lines of like how much I need to make per year, per month, per week, whatever, get that number, where I can cut some expenses down, where I see I was wasting money, so I can build that profit up and stuff like that. Because yeah, top line is cool and everything, but it's all about how much you keep, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's
I mean, truly, I just want to say like anybody could be like, oh yeah, I own a 6-figure business, but like we made 6 figures last year, but it could only maybe keep $1,500, and it's like, okay, well, what good is that? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you did bad math. You didn't charge enough at all.
0.0001 profit margin. Like that's terrible.
Right? What are you paying for at this point? Like, what extra can you get from that? Like,
exactly. Like, you're keeping pennies.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, obviously those are fictitious numbers, but like, there's people out there who run like 5, 10, 15% like profit margins. It's like you can sink at that. I mean, they say I think it's like 30 or 25 or something like that in lawn care is like a number that you can survive on. It just kind of depends on what you're doing. Are you a massive company doing a lot of
that makes sense,
a lot of work,
right?
Or are you a smaller company doing like jobs with a ton of fucking overhead and shit like that? You know what I mean? Like, so it all depends.
All matters with overhead for sure.
But I mean, obviously, everybody wants to the more profit margin, the better.
Of course.
So
if you listen to Profit with Paycheck,
I love that.
You'll be able to get 100%. Like you'll be able to figure out your numbers.
Yeah, I honestly want to use his course. I would love to buy his
course. He has a course. That makes sense.
But it's like it's actually not even a course. It's you pay him to look at your books.
Oh,
he'll tell you exactly how much you need to charge per hour. Like he'll tell you everything. He looks at your whole business inside and out and tells you what you're doing wrong and what you need to fix and stuff like that. He'll be like, you need to be charging this per hour and you should be charging this for cleanups and that. And like he does it all. Like
smart man.
But you pay like I think it's like probably $1,500 now.
Yep.
And pretty cool. I want to do that.
Yep.
I'll wait. I'll do it. It's at the same time.
Yeah,
I was like, I think I
and
can
you,
do it all right.
yeah, you can't be scared, man.
Yeah, that's the
You have to
thing.
have somebody else just send it for you, like
Yep.
somebody else just send it because in reality, like that's my biggest problem too. Like uh, I'm just scared of opinions of others. At the
If the author doesn't like people, people will not like their stories. In continuation off that, it says if that is true of writing fiction, you can be sure it is true by dealing with people face to face. And I thought that was cool because there was like somebody who was a publisher who was like, I can tell immediately if they
Exactly.
are happy in their stories and they like people in their stories or not.
Right.
And if I can tell that they don't, then I'm just passing the book on and saying no.
100%, right.
Because it would be interesting.
I actually learned something very interesting in school with like the whole like literature and things like English literature or like fictional stories and things like that. Like I loved English. I loved just creating my own little story, even if it's real or not.
Yep.
Fictional or non-fictional. They always spoke about doing things like instead of doing like the pronoun like I, replace it
With
just don't.
oh, don't use I.
If anything, like make it a third party rather than like I.
Like say JP did this instead of I.
Yeah,
did
yeah,
this.
like exactly.
I do remember that.
Now and I was that in like high school. I learned that and I was like, oh my god, I was like, so that kind of cooked into my brain once I it's like a reiteration. Once I heard this, and I was
that
like,
goes to the beginning of the chapter where it says, "Don't talk about you, listen to other people," which is what I used when I was talking to my buddy the other day.
Yep.
It was like everybody likes to talk about themselves, but if you
Yep.
talk about I guess yourself in a third person way versus an I way, it gets people interested more.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
Part 1, Part 2, Chapter 1.
Part 2,
full
chapter
circle.
1. Full circle.
We're all about full circles here.
Full circle.
We've brought a lot of circles together to this podcast.
Yeah, this one was actually a good one for like this is the least notes that we had and
least preparation, and
least
I think
prep.
has come the most organically together so far.
Facts. The organicness of this conversation was amazing.
Thanks for listening, guys, to today's Passion Tomorrow's Purpose podcast with JP, Jonathan, the
investor
and the entrepreneur, where we come together and kind of bring our thoughts together about books. We will be discussing more stuff in the future about the investing side of things and the entrepreneurial side of things. We're not always going to be doing the book thing. We're going to kind of figure out some other things that we're going to do here, but starting off with the books and kind of see where it goes from there and kind of build ourselves up because we're all about growth and development.
That's in the logo, baby. That's in the logo.
Yeah, check out that logo.
We're all about you, but not about us. We would love to teach you guys about what we learned because growth and development. It's all about giving back to everybody else. That's what the whole channel means. Today's passion. That's what gets you motivated. Tomorrow's purpose. The purpose is what you give back to others.
Yep.
So we're trying to get to that end point where we're giving back to you.
Yep.
So thank you for coming so much. Love you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Let's do this. We'll see you in the next one.
Yes, sir.
Woo! That was fucking a solid outro. Woo!
But anyways, if I'm with somebody that that was great though. That was great. If I'm with somebody that I don't remember the name, I make them introduce each other. So if if I'm with somebody like, yo, like, hey, what's up? Like if you're my cousin or something, I'm like, hey, what's up, cuz? Like, I was like, matter of fact, I'll introduce each other. And then I was flying. I'm like, oh, okay, Ashley. Like,
Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
Slick. That's a
Got it.
slick
Yeah.
right
I'm
there.
like, I don't need to introduce. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Like y'all both in front of each other. Like, cousin, what's your name? What's your name? Like, I make them meet that.
Or
way.
then you get that awkward pause. This is like who you're with, or you'd be like,
that's what the whole like you gotta come with it. Like,
yeah.
Just introduce yourself. Just introduce yourself. Like, oh.
Just be like, hi. I just be like, hey, how's it going? This is Olivia, my fiance, and then they'll go, hi, I'm like, oh yeah, and I'll be like, Olivia, yeah, this is this person from that thing.
True. Oh yeah. Like
You introduce your
though.
person first, and then they'll usually go.
That's legit all it takes though. That one person to say like with their name, like, oh, that's.
Yep.
I can probably even put the last name now.
Yeah, exactly.
I can probably put the last name.
I know
man.
exactly where you live. I know your house. I know your car.
I know why I met you and how.
Yep.
You know.
Today's purpose, tomorrow's passion.
Huh?
Today's purpose, tomorrow's passion.
No.
Fuck it.
Correct.